Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reading The Polar Express. I really loved this book when I was younger because I was watching a movie about this bell, and this movie and this book brought me so much joy that I wanted to share it to you guys. Here I have some stuff inside about Christmas because this is where I kept my belongings when I was little. And because I used to read this every day. Anyways, The Polar Express. On Christmas Eve, many years ago, I lay quietly in my bed. I did not rustle the sheets. I breathed slowly and silently. I was listening for a sound. A friend had told me I'd never hear. The ringing bells of Santa's sleigh. There is no Santa. My friend had it instead, but I knew he was wrong. Late that night, I didn't hear sounds. Though not of ringing bells from outside, came the sounds of hissing steam and squeaking metal. I looked through my window and saw a train standing perfectly still in front of my house. It was wrapped in an apron of steam. Snowflakes fell like around it. A conductor stood at the open door of one of the pockets. He took a large pocket watch from his vest, then looked up at my window. I put on my slippers and my robe. I tiptoed downstairs and out of the door. "All aboard!" the conductor cried out. I ran up to him. "Well," he said, "are you coming?" "Where?" I asked. "Why, to the North Pole." "Of course," was his answer. "This is the Polar Express." I took an outstretched hand and he pulled me aboard. The train was filled with other children, all in their pajamas and nightgowns. We sang Christmas carols and ate candies with nugget centers as white as snow. We drank hot cocoa as thick and rich as the melted chocolate bars. Outside, the lights of towns and villages flickered in the distance as the Polar Express raced northward. Soon, there were no more lights to be seen. We traveled through cold, dark forests where lean wolves roamed and white-tailed rabbits hid from our trains as it thundered through the quiet wilderness. We climbed mountains so high it seemed as if we scraped the moon, but the polar escapes never slowed down. Faster and faster we ran along, rolling over peaks and through valleys like a car on a roller coaster. The mountains turned into hills, the hills to snow-covered plains. We crossed the barren desert of ice. The great polar ice cap lights appeared in the distance. They looked like the lights of a strange ocean, interstelling ever frozen sea. There, said the conductor, the North Pole. The North Pole. It was a huge city standing alone on the top of the world, filled with factories where every Christmas toy was made. At first, we saw no elves. They are gathering at the center of the city. The conductor told us that is where Santa will give the first gift of Christmas. Who receives the first gift? We all asked. The conductor answered, he will choose one of you. "Look," shouted one of the children, "the elves!" Outside we saw 100 of elves. As our train drew closer to the center of the North Pole, we slowed to crawl so crowded were the streets with Santa's helpers. When the Polar Express could go no farther, we stopped and the conductor led us outside. We pressed through the crowd to the edge of a large open circle. In front of us stood Santa's sleigh. The reindeer were excited. They pranced and paced, ringing the silver sleigh bells that hung from their harness. It was a magical sound like nothing I've ever heard. Across the circle, the elves moved apart and Santa Claus appeared, and the elves cheered wildly. He marched over to us, pointing to me. and said, "Let's have this fellow here." He jumped into the sleigh. The conductor handed me up. I sat on Santa's knee and he asked, "Now, what would you like for the Christmas?" A clock struck midnight as the elves roared their approval. Santa handed the bell to me and I put it in my bathrobe pocket. The conductor helped me down from the sleigh. Santa shouted out to the reindeers' names and cracked his whip. His team charged forward and climbed into the air. Santa circled once above us and then disappeared in the cold, dark polar sky. This is the bell that I was talking about. This bell, I have it for many years now, and it brought me a lot of joy. So I really recommend you reading this book one more time and watching the full movie. Thank you for listening, and to see you next time. Good night.